Today was the Driven to Care Ferrari student experience, where the students get to learn what goes into running a luxury dealership. And if you've never heard of Driven to Care, meet the amazing woman that puts all this together.
My name is Lisa Weinberger, and I'm the founder of the Driven to Care program. I want to first start out by thanking Revival Stash for hosting this event for us. They did a wonderful job decorating and putting this together along with many other members of our team, and I just really am grateful for this amazing facility for us to be in, so thank you so much, Revival Stash.
And what's Driven to Care's mission?
Driven to Care's goals are twofold. The first is to connect car enthusiasts together. The second is to provide scholarships for students in various categories: automotive engineering, technician, vintage restoration, dealership marketing and management, and motorsports. And we have people here from all of those domains to talk to you today.
The students are going to get to move around to 5 different stations representing the different departments of the dealership. Here's Kelly from Ferrari of Austin to describe it.
We're so grateful to be here on behalf of Ferrari of Austin, and so excited to talk to all of you about some of the different roles that are in our dealership. Around the room, there are little balloons for each station, and with that, we're going to do a little 15-minute discussions, Q&As with each department, so that way we can rotate basically as 15-minute rotation stations, so it gives everyone a chance to talk to each of the department heads and ask the questions that you might need to ask if it's something that you can see yourself doing in the future, as Ms. Lisa said.
Well, let's jump right into the show.
This is the sales side of things here at the store. And I think what I want to take you through is just a couple of the aspects when it comes to like your relationship with clients in the field, and one specific thing that you do that they look forward to, and that thing is building cars. So when we're building a car, it's arguably one of the most important pieces of our career because we're creating a piece of history if you actually think about it, because there's so few of these cars built. So everything you do build one day will go to an auction where maybe it sells for $10 million. You never know. It could go down in history as something very unique. When you're building cars, if you guys come in, a couple of things that you want to look at is the different materials that we use. Now, everything's obviously hand done with Ferrari. You want to look at all the different materials that you can use. You guys can pass these around. All these leathers and all these Alcantaras are just pieces of material that we use at the dealership when we're building a car. And the client will kind of direct you on, hey, I really want a red car with a tan interior. You can then show them the so many different types of red colors that we actually have, and then also all the different types of tans that we can use. The customization doesn't just stop there though, it also goes down to the stitching. So when you look at each Ferrari here, they're all unique. You won't see one that's identical to another because each one is specifically designed for the client who ordered it. When the product is done and it's fully built, this is what it comes out to look like. This is the launch color for the Ferrari Pure Sangue. It's a dark metallic red. It doesn't show well in here because of the lighting, but when you pull this car outside, you can see the red. On the inside, we opted for a leather interior instead of an Alcantara interior. This is just something specific that we did because this is gonna be our loaner vehicle or our demo car for the store. But each client will kind of go through and pick out not only the material used on the door panels, but also all the stitching, all the options, the kind of speaker system they want, even down to the carbon fiber on the car, and obviously other options like air-conditioned seats, massage seats, things of that nature. This is the next level, the pinnacle of customization, because we're going so deep into what we can actually accomplish. And there is even a program called Tailor Made, which has offices in Shanghai, Italy, and also in New York City, where you can take customizations beyond just what I can do at the factory level, even down to special dreamlines that are hand painted into the carbon fiber, or different materials used, like if you have a favorite leather from a designer brand handbag, you can use that in the car. I think the thing that you'll struggle with is just time management. So it's really important to have good time management skills when you're in sales, at this level at least, because you have to balance obviously him walking through the door and wanting to buy a pre-owned vehicle, but also you walking through the door and wanting to build your brand new vehicles. I'd say the other biggest thing if you go into sales is make sure you remember to ask for the sale. Do you want to buy a car? Because that's the most important question you can ask. And if they say no, what are we doing? But if they say yes, now we're on to something and we might be able to sell one.
What's the ugliest color combination you've sold?
Oh man, there's been a couple. My least favorite color combination is a yellow exterior with a red interior. It just gives me McDonald's vibes. And that's not, like, I can't do that. That's another important thing actually in the customization process is like you have an obligation when you work for a dealer to direct them in a way where the car is going to be desirable in the future. So maybe you don't want to tell them how to build the car, but you also want to make sure they're not doing something that's going to be, hurtful to them down the road. So you have a little bit of an integrity there as well.
I'm Kelly. I am the marketing manager at Ferrari of Austin. This is Taylor. She is the experience manager at the Ferrari of Austin dealership. And together we basically handle all of the marketing needs for our dealership. And that is anything from events to social media to digital advertising to print advertising and way more. So basically, to start, we'll kind of go off of this KPI board. This is one of the major words when it comes to marketing is key point indicators. So this is really what tailors our day-to-day lives and basically our yearly plan to make sure that we're managing every department and we're making sure that all of our goals are met for the year. So we make sure that everyone is on target and that we're helping push everything that we need to push so all of the needs for the dealership are met by the end of the year. Sales, for example, we like to throw events and we like to do the digital advertising, social media, so that way we get everybody in the dealership and we're tailoring everything to the needs of all of these individual clients that come into our dealership. So when you're buying a vehicle, you're not just getting a car, you're getting the lifestyle that comes along with it. And there is a community of people that you'll see at all of the Ferrari events that are not just our clients, but they're also our friends. That's something I really didn't know when I first started at the Ferrari of Austin dealership, that a real community comes along with it. And it's such a beautiful thing. Obviously, being passionate about what you're doing is so important. And so I think Taylor and I really try and do a good job of meeting these clients where they need to be met and tailoring these events towards all of the individual people that come into the dealership. And that's things such as our track day. Someone might not want to track their car and someone might only want to track their car, or F1 watch parties at our dealership, service breakfasts, so that way anyone who's getting their car serviced, they might not have bought a car from us, but they might service with us as well. They can come into our dealership and really have one-on-one time with the technicians who are really on the back end of our dealership.
Huge part of my job is what I call waitlist management. So if you purchase a new Ferrari or configure a new Ferrari with Frankie, you will have to wait up to 3 to 4 years for that new car to come. It's part of Kelly and I's job to look after those clients while they're waiting. That's why we host events. That's why we do things like sending them newsletters. I send them emails per week with a tailored email based on where their car is in production. That way they know and they're aware of where it is. That way they know when it's going to arrive and all those things. But I also send out 2 newsletters per week to everyone on our contact list, one of which is the Friday newsletter, which I have shown here. Find news articles that I think are interesting. I sort of take some photos from there and then put them all together in this Friday newsletter. It's just an easy way for our clients to be able to see what's going on in the global world of Ferrari, not just our local dealership. And then at the bottom, I do feature one of our sales cars that we're selling, one of our certified pre-owns. This is just something I do to drive more people to the website. The more people on the website, the more people that will call and inquire, the more people we can get in the dealership and eventually sell them a car or sell them a service or sell them tires or sell them something. I always do a section on Formula One, which is a huge part for me because I'm a huge Formula One fan. So it's always fun for me to report on this. Other newsletter that I do, I don't have an example pulled up, but it is our Tuesday newsletter, and it is just based on one car in our pre-owned inventory. I put all the photos in that newsletter. I give all the details, the VIN, the miles, the price, all of that. It's just kind of like pointing people to one car per week to like focus the week on that. I also try to take photos and videos of that car that week and post them on our Instagram, just kind of focus in on that one car. The second part of my job is magazine ads, which are print ads, which are really exciting for me because I still like seeing my work in print. Even though this is fun, this is more fun to me. This is our City Life magazine that we partner with. It's a local Dripping Springs magazine, and we pay monthly to have our ads in their magazine. This is one, for example. It's a car that I shot down here in right off South Congress. And then I write a little bit about the car. We submit it to them and then they print it out, which is always fun to see. We also do DuPont, which is a really famous magazine, and we do 2 ads in DuPont per month. So I take 2 cars off site per month and then shoot those cars, upload them to the site, and then they put them in the magazine, which is always fun. Part of their wait list management is items like these, like the official Ferrari magazine. They will get, when they purchase a car, you get this magazine as well as our model car over here. Once you sign the contract to purchase your new Ferrari, you will get items like these to kind of keep you waiting. That car is configured to the exact car that the person configured with Frankie, so it's like an exact model, which is really fun. You also get things like lithographs along the way, so it's 3 years, but you're getting items along the way to kind of keep you engaged. And then obviously that's what our events are for, is keeping them coming in and maybe selling them a pre-owned while they wait. It's just all part of the game, and it's really fun.
Obviously, 2 to 4 years to wait for a vehicle is a very long time. It's insane, and I know that that's kind of what turns a lot of people off of getting a Ferrari, but that's our job to make sure everyone who is on the wait list is engaged the entire time, and as well as excite them that 2 to 4 years is going to fly by, and it's going to be so worth it to get a vehicle that's configured exactly to your design, exactly to your style and your taste. So it's our job to get everybody into the dealership, making sure, like I said, their needs are met, but at the end of the day, we're selling this lifestyle. We're making sure that everybody is so engaged with the brand, and we're making sure that we are hitting everybody's individual interests, so that way they are still excited.
We manage the website. So that's another part of my job. When we get a new car, a new pre-owned car, I have to write the dealer's note, upload the photos, arrange for the photographer to come and shoot that car. It's all up to me to get that on the website in a timely manner. So we want to sell, so we want to get that done. But yeah, it's a good question. The website is managed by us.
My favorite event, we throw an F1 reception the Thursday before the F1 race in Austin every year. That's always incredible. It's a lot of work, but always very rewarding. And then we also do our track days, which are just very exciting for clients. So it's always fun to be out at the dealership at the track and just hearing clients use the cars that we, have seen Frankie deliver time and time again at our dealership. You get to see it, and they get to really experience the car's full power on the track instead of on the everyday roads, basically. It's always an exciting experience. Just all of the events are fun in their own ways, but I would say those are the 2 that stand out for me.
After sales departments. So this would be like the service advisor side of things, accessories, aftermarket upgrades, that kind of thing. I'm the face of the dealership in between the technicians and the parts department. So if a customer comes in for service and they bring us an F8 like this one here, and I'm gonna receive them at the dealership. I'm gonna go ahead and walk around the car with them. And I'm gonna look for things that catch my eye. I'll notice things like this car's got carbon fiber down low, we've got a black wheel, but he has a standard lug nut versus a titanium option, which is a lighter weight. It's got some anti-theft characteristics. I'll notice that here in the engine bay, it's all black plastic versus the carbon fiber options that you could have. I'll see he's already got window tint. I'll check to see he's got PPF. If I see that a car doesn't have that, I'm gonna talk to the client about that being an option. We should at least do the full front with the side view mirrors, the A-pillars, and then the side skirt. If you want, we can also do full car. And then with that said, if we're going full car, I would give them the option to switch to a stealth finish. So can y'all see how there's gloss on one side and then there's stealth on the other? A lot of people with black cars like to do the stealth because it just looks kind of sinister. I'll pass that around real quick. But if some of these things are missing, for example, the carbon fiber in the engine bay, we can make that an option. So I can tell the client, hey, I know you bought this car secondhand or third hand or fourth hand, so this isn't necessarily your car yet. It may have features or accessories that you wish it had to make it your own. We can do these things. And actually there's a book here I'll show y'all. This has a ton of Ferrari genuine accessories. So I'll talk to them about what these are, different wheels, different exhaust tips, and then with those options, the client can adjust the car to their taste. It's all gonna be up to the customer, right? So when I'm receiving them at the dealership, I'm walking around talking about these kinds of things. So the older Ferraris, they didn't staple the back of the leather. So the dashes, the binnacles, anything that was wrapped in leather, it's not stapled at the back. So when there's UV damage and the leather dries up and shrinks, it actually pulls off. Putting window tint, keeping the leather moisturized, pointing the windshield away from the sun. Like if you park the car and you're considerate of where the sun is and where it's moving, you can do these small things that will actually protect the interior. The other issue we have with Ferraris that I'll look for when I'm walking around the car are sticky buttons. In the 2000s really, and the early 2010s, where soft touch interior was like the thing, it was considered cool, if you will. But what's happened is the manufacturer that did all the soft touch interior, they didn't create a product that lasted. So after time, with UV damage, with moisture and humidity, it degrades. And when it degrades, it becomes gooey and disgusting, and it ruins the interior feel of the car. You can have a perfect car with sticky buttons, but when you get in and you hit the reverse button and it leaves goo on your finger, or you drag your knee across the steering column and it stains your pants, it makes a car feel like a piece of junk. If you look at things like the frunk release or the fuel door release or the gear select buttons on some of the other cars here, if you look closely, you might see that they're gooey or they're scratched. That car needs the refinishing. That single service costs like $11,000. And it also costs 3 months of downtime. So if you have this car and your sticky buttons need to be refinished, and you'll say, hey, let's go ahead and do it, James. I want to get that fixed. And then I also noticed that your dash leather has lifted. I'm going to say, hey, while we're in there, since we're already taking the dash out of the car, there's labor overlap. It makes more sense for us to do this at the same time. Let's check 2 boxes. That way you don't have to worry about this again in the future. But then we're talking about another $10,000 on top of the sticky buttons. With my clients, I'm not going to just talk to them about doing things to be cost efficient, doing them together to save money. I'm also going to talk to them about when we should probably do it. Right now, this time of year, you're probably not going to drive much. So I'd say, hey, Mr. Customer, why don't you drop the car off with me in December before the holidays, and I'll get started on this so that way when the warm season rolls back in, you can jump back in the car because I'll be done with it at that point. So those are some of the things I talk about when I walk around the car. Then when I go inside with the client, I'm gonna look up their vehicle identification number in Ferrari's database. I'm gonna check for recalls or any free services. Ferraris come with something special. If you buy it new, or even if you buy it secondhand, you inherit 7 years of complimentary maintenance. You don't pay for oil changes or brake fluid exchanges or drive belts or air filters for 7 years. It's built into the cost of the car, and the problem is if you buy a car secondhand, there's 2 things that you're giving up. Potentially the knowledge of this program. I've seen it several times where clients buy a car secondhand from a third-party dealership and they're not even aware. And they'll go years and years and years paying someone to do a service that they literally could have got for free. So that's a big swing and a waste of money. What I'm mainly doing on the service side is I'm bridging the customer to the technician for repairs and options, and also facilitating them expressing their car in the way that represents them. I'm kind of in a sales role, being in service, right? Offering accessories and things that protect the car and making it their own. But my responsibility is more to make sure that the customer has the best experience possible in enjoying their car. Owning the car is one thing, but being a part of the community is probably a bigger deal. So I talk a lot about our events, and I talk about the Ferrari Club of America. Ferrari has a club membership that you can be in, that they do dinners and lunches, they do rallies, they do events, and actually later this year, we're doing an event at Horseshoe Bay. Are y'all familiar with that? Big fancy facility, right? They got an airstrip on Horseshoe Bay. Can you guess what we're gonna do at the airstrip? We'll be drag racing down the airstrip. So okay, owning the Ferrari's fun, right? But if you didn't know about this event, you'd miss out on the opportunity to meet at the dealership, hang out with a bunch of cars just like these, but way, way more. Probably 4 times as many cars, 4 times as many people. We'll have breakfast, coffee, mimosas, you name it. Get in the car, then we have a police escort take us from Ferrari of Austin out to Horseshoe Bay. We take the scenic route, and then when we get there, we park, have lunch, have drinks, and hang out for a while there next to the pool with a view, get to know each other, make new friends, get back in the cars, head to the airstrip. You get to see World War II helicopters. And last year, after we were done drag racing and having lunch there, he broke out the helicopter and drag raced against a Lamborghini and a Ferrari down the airstrip. But imagine if you were in the community or if you weren't, right? To participate in that would make your Ferrari experience 1,000 times better because you'll have memories that last a lifetime. If you don't know about that stuff, you miss out on half the part of owning a Ferrari, is the family and the community. I think it's lunchtime, y'all.
This is Eddie. I missed his intro, but he's a master technician and is representing the service department.
And like I said, I told everybody, if you want to stop by the shop, see the dealership, shoot me a text message. Want to see what we bring to the table? Absolutely. It's going to probably be one of the cleanest places you've ever seen. That is on the top of my list of things. Some other guys and some other groups were asking me, what do I look for some of the technicians also? And one of the things we got on the subject of was cleanliness. I wear gloves 24/7 at the dealership. If you look at my hands and I told you I was a mechanic, people would be like, you're lying to me. I used to get made fun of at UTI because they would ask me if I wanted to be a model or wanted to work on cars, because I used to bring my own box of gloves with me. And I told them I want to do both, so there you have it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the shop, we have a porter who actually cleans the shop like 24/7. We have these really cool cart. That's where we store all of our parts that come off of a vehicle. If it's too big to fit in the cart, we have a back storage room where you'll label it. Say you pull an under tray off. All these cars, if you get under it, you can't really see anything. It's just straight under tray, whether it be plastic or carbon. And we'll take that, you'll label it, put it in the back room, because that obviously won't fit in the cart. Wheels and stuff like that. If you stack them nicely, they usually don't care, but the floors have to be clean. You spill some oil, clean it up then, don't let it track around, things like that. It really, really helps the dealership run smoothly. Little baggies, I actually keep my headphones in one of them so they don't get dirty, but these little baggies are lifesavers. What I do is I'll either use these or I have some plastic bins that I use that will open, a bunch of little individual bins in there. They're like $10 at Harbor Freight. And I will label each one with a number, and then I create a Word document actually. And if I'm doing a big job that's gonna be apart for a week or so, I'll label everything like engine, bonnet. Bonnet's another word for hood. So that's one word we use. You'll start to learn the different lingo for Ferrari. But I like label those so I know they're number one. And it also kind of tells me how the car came apart without having to go back and look at the manual. And then if something were to happen, God forbid I got into an accident or something, I always try to think about the person behind me. So if somebody does have to go in behind me, they'll have this whole cool little spreadsheet for them to put a car back together. I play dumb in a lot of situations. I do a lot of research. I do a lot of extra reading. I take a lot of notes. I go into classes at Ferrari North America in New Jersey, and I just sit there and act like I'm brand new to the brand. I'm like, oh, well, can you explain that a little bit more? And the guy who runs the courses, Giuseppe, he knows that I've been here 6 years. So he's always like, Eddie, seriously, Eddie? And I'm like, look, I just want to know more. Please tell me more. That's really gonna take you far. Anybody and anything you're doing, whether or not you go to UTI or you go to a trade school or anything like that, research is gonna get you far.
What's your favorite tool?
My favorite tool, 10 millimeter socket. Oh, you know what? Actually, that's a good question. A bore scope that I bought off of Amazon for $20 and go on to Snap-on and buy one for like $1,000 that has like a screen that you have to do all this extra stuff with. Don't recommend it. Amazon, search for bore scope to connect to your phone, and it takes 4K videos. And I think has been a lifesaver. That helped me diagnose an engine that had bad rings in it, has helped me find a couple oil leaks from rear main seals, helped me do some inspections on cars. It'll save you a ton of time because it might not be what it's intended for, but like, so I don't have to take off under trays, I can like slide that thing up there, take a video and just record it. Lift points are the same on pretty much all these cars. So the back will always have like a solid lift point. Usually right about here, you go back, there's a cutout in the actual under tray. And then for the front engine cars, usually right about here, there's a small rubber pull-out rubber grommet that you use. We use hockey pucks. You actually don't use the lift. Yeah, you don't use the actual piece of it. You pull that out and then you just put a hockey puck there, slide those arms under there because it's very like it's hard to hit the point. Some of the other cars are a little bit crazier. Say a Ferrari F50, you have to actually have a specialty tool that slides under the wheel, lifts up so you can pull the undershield off. Then you can actually lower it back down, take those out, and then you can find the lift points because they're under the undershield.
If you guys want to take a look at these brake pads, we're going to do a game in a minute and see who can get the price closest to the price without going over. Feel how heavy it is too, the box, you can lift it up. It's super heavy. So how much do you think that these rear brake pads are? 500, okay. 450, okay. 750, okay. 400, okay. That's what you said last time too. Let me get the exact price because I don't want to be off. Okay, yeah, so it's 1,578. You just won a hat. There you go. Something that I think is really cool, Ferraris, is a lot of these parts are VIN specific. Every car has a different VIN. Maybe not something like a pollen filter, but like a windshield or a steering wheel, a seat for a car. You can't just go get a random Ferrari seat. You have to get the specific kind. There's racing seats, there's all kinds of different things. And with the parts department, you can be ordering stuff from a windshield all the way down to seat belts, to nuts and bolts, really anything that's on this car. Like seriously, all of it. You order it all if it needs to be replaced. Most of the parts are VIN specific because it means that you can't just change it out with anything, Makes it unique. So I'll just go over a couple key details about the parts department that are really important. First, is anyone here interested in the parts department? Maybe working there one day? They go hand in hand. Once you learn parts, you'd be a great tech. The parts department, it's a really fun job if you like organization and all that kind of stuff, which I do love organization. We do 2 parts audits a year. So that means you're checking what you physically have. Like right now, I physically have one of these, and say my system said I had 2 of these. Well, now I have to figure out where the other one is, or come up with a reason why it's gone. Say maybe on my lunch break, someone came in and grabbed it because they couldn't wait for me to come back, or anything like that. It's really nice if you're organized because then your numbers will be matching. Everything is going to be 1-to-1 instead of having to come up with all these reasons. Oh, this was gone because of this, or So I find that it's easiest to do that with an Excel sheet, and you use that to match your DMS and your CRM system. So all 3 of your systems are matched, or your 2 systems in your Excel sheet. Really important to be vigilant on organization and just making sure that everything you have is in the right place, nothing gets lost, your quantities match. So that's really important. Another thing that I think it's good to mention is keeping great relationships with your vendors. During the speech, she was saying, like, you know, look presentable, try and stand out. That also goes hand in hand with the parts department. You want to always be looking presentable because most of the time you're going to be dealing with your technicians, but sometimes you will also be dealing with customers. Hold yourself to, you know, a high standard the way you're talking with them, and if they're asking for a deal on a price, or something like that, you want to be able to answer them correctly and all that. So it's all about knowing your product, knowing what you can and can't give discounts on, talking with respect to everybody that you work with, technicians, sales advisors, service advisors, vendors, even FedEx and UPS. Some of our parts, most of them come from Italy. When it comes down to things like that, you try to get the vehicles out, like in and out of the shop within 3 days, preferred turnaround time. So say if something's coming from Italy and it doesn't get there for a week, well, now our technician has a car in his bay just taking up space, you know? So once someone asks you to order a part, or hey, I'm gonna need this, you know, do your best if you can to stop what you're doing or put it on hold and order those parts, because if you're waiting for them to come in, it's holding someone else up from making more hours, you know, so you always want to be respectful of that. And part of the parts department is working closely with warranty, which is what I actually do. I'm not part of the parts department, but I'm just helping out. So I work closely with our parts manager. We're always like, is this covered under warranty? Okay, it's not. Well, what can we do? And also working closely with the technicians. Our parts manager is always pull parts for them and, you know, going back and forth with them on so many different things, all kinds of different ROs and billing stuff out. I'll wrap up with that.
That wraps it up for the dealer portion, but there was so much more to this event, including a special appearance from Keith Sutton, the famous automotive photographer. I couldn't film everything, so head on over to driventocare.org. Be sure to sign up for the mailing list there, and also check out the website. Everyone else's videos that weren't filmed on a potato are going to be posted over there. Well, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more great things from Driven to Care.